All right, I have the stream going, and now I'm going to start admitting and renaming the jurors. Hi, Ms. Jones, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, and you are Suzanne Jones, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, and tell me what kind of device you're using to access this Zoom.
I'm on a laptop computer.
Okay. All right, how do I pronounce your last name, Miss Wapham?
Wapham.
Wapham, okay.
Yeah.
And what kind of device are you using to connect?
A tablet.
Okay. All right, Mr. Hamilton, can you hear me? Let me unmute you.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, and what type of device are you using to access this?
I'm on a Apple laptop, MacBook. Yeah.
All right, and someone has joined as Galaxy S9. Can you tell me your name?
My name is Emily Tang.
Okay, and are you able to enable to start your video so that we can see you?
Oh, okay. Okay. So I had to press allow. Okay. Can you see me now?
Yes, I can see you. And what type of device are you using to connect?
I'm using my Samsung Galaxy S9.
Smartphone?
Yeah, my iPhone.
Okay. All right, Mr. Deer King, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes. And what type of device are you using to connect?
Laptop?
Mr. Bullock, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And what type of device are you using to connect?
I am on a laptop.
Thank you. Miss Young, can you hear me?
Yes,
All right. And what type of device are you using to connect?
I am on my iPhone.
Okay. Can you enable the video so we can see you?
Sure.
Great. And can you turn your phone from this way to this way?
Sure.
Perfect. Thank you. Mr. Is it Catherine?
Yes, ma'am.
You can hear me?
I hear you fine.
And what type of device are you using to connect?
I'm using an iPhone.
Mhm. Can you turn your phone from this way to this way?
Oh, that's a good question. We'll see. Try this. How's that?
Perfect. Thank you. All right, whoever just joined that's called Galaxy S8, can you tell me your name?
Oh, Sharon Clark.
Sharon Clark. Okay, and tell me you're accessing this from your Android phone or tablet?
Phone.
Oh, great. All right, whoever just joined, if you get a pop-up when you join that asks whether you want to connect to internet audio or phone audio, you should choose internet audio and allow access to your microphone. Perfect. All right, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay, and tell me your name.
Marianne Nastro.
I see you. Tell me what type of device you're connecting with.
It's a MacBook Pro.
All right. Mr. Diamond, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and tell me what device you're using to connect.
An Apple laptop.
All right. Ines, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. What type of device are you using to connect?
An iPad?
All right. And can you
I'm sorry.
turn your device from this way to this way?
I did, but it's not doing much of anything.
Do you have it set to stay in portrait mode or is it on auto rotate?
I don't know. Sorry, more. Let me look at more.
Swipe down from your top right corner for your iPad.
Okay, meeting topic, always show, touch, close. Show my video in gallery view.
Those sound like Zoom settings. I think this is a setting on your iPad. So your iPad is probably set to stay in portrait mode.
Okay, sorry. Let me just check. My apologies.
No, no problem. If
Okay.
you swipe down from the top right corner, does it give you settings?
No, but let me go into my settings. Is that what I need to do? Sorry.
Let me see if I can find it on my iPad.
Sorry. I thought using the iPad would be the better one because the phone's so little.
Oh, we'll get it to work. It's okay. So Judge Dean is modeling it for you. If you can see him, if you swipe down from the top right corner, you can have a setting. You see what he's doing?
Nope, I just went to all the other stuff. Wait, bear with me. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Participants more Zoom. Oh, switch camera. No, that's not what I want to do. I'm not seeing him. My apologies.
Okay. Let's see if I can give you some better directions in another place.
Oh, come on, Kathy. Come on, you can do this.
Hey, it's okay. We're all new to this. Okay, if you just put your finger in the top right corner of your iPad and just swipe down real fast.
The only thing that's coming up is all the breaking news weather. That's all that's coming on mine when I do mine.
I think that's if you swipe down from the center of the screen, it does that. Try swiping down from the, like on the right side of the screen. Oh, I see what you did. Okay, maybe I just got the same thing. Okay, swipe down in like a diagonal from the top right to the bottom left and see if that
Okay,
helps.
fair enough. Oh, come on. Okay. Top right, bottom left. Okay, I got a little arrow. Oh, there we go. Okay. Come on.
Rotation lock, do you see it?
No, now I,
So can you see me?
well, I did a minute ago. Yes, I see. Well, no, yeah, there we go. Okay.
So when I swipe, I get that menu and there's a little lock with a little circular arrow around it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I've seen that earlier. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's, I don't. Okay, sorry. Oh, God almighty.
Don't worry, really, don't worry about it.
Nope, it's not, it's just not doing what I want it to do. I'm sorry. Let me just look in settings and see. Oh, nope, switch camera. No, the only thing it's giving me is an opportunity to switch settings or, okay, let me, If I go into my settings, will that change it?
I was trying to look and see if I can find where it would be in your settings.
On. Okay.
How about this? You can
Okay.
stay in portrait mode for now and
Okay.
figure it out. Great. If not, we'll work with you in portrait mode.
Well, let me just see if I can figure out how to change this keyboard, date and time.
Here's what let's
keep
do. I'll mute you and you keep working on it. All right.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Silva, can you hear me?
I can, yes, ma'am.
All right. And what type of device are you using to connect?
Computer.
All right. Thank you. All right, Ms. Roswell, can you hear me?
Yes,
All right, what type of device are you using to connect?
an iPad.
Thank you. Ms. Haddix, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, what type of device are you using to connect?
iPad.
And can you take your iPad from this way to this way?
Sure.
Perfect, thank you. Ms. Barron, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Great, and what device are you using to connect to this?
I'm using a computer.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Piles, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, what type of device are you using to connect?
I'm on a laptop.
Ms. Davis, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, great. What type of device are you using to connect?
I have, I have an iPad that I'm using that the screen's a lot clearer, and as far as the router Wi-Fi. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, thank you. Ms. Thomas, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
What type of device are you using to connect?
Laptop?
Great. All right, Mr. Chavda, oh, you're muted, hold on. Mr. Chavda, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, and what type of device are you using to connect?
I'm using iMac.
At a laptop or a desktop?
It's a desktop. It's a desktop.
Thank you. All right, whoever just connected, if you can hear me, you need to click call using internet audio and not phone audio. Great. All right, so sir who just joined, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, and tell me your name.
Ronald Stevens.
Okay, and are you using your phone to connect?
I'm using a little tablet.
Tablet, great, thank you. All right, and Ms. Khan, if you can hear me, you need to tap the pop that says connect using internet audio. All right, Mr. Mercer, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
All right, and can you enable your video so we can see you?
Okay.
All right, and tell me what device you're using to connect.
Macintosh,
Is that a desktop or a laptop?
iMac, desktop.
All right, thank you. All right, Ms. Horton, can you hear me? Mr. Roberts, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes,
Great. What type of device are you using to connect?
I'm on my iPhone.
All right, great. Can you turn your phone from this way to this way? Perfect.
You want us to stay on video?
Yes, stay on video, but
Okay.
I'm going to mute you. Ms. Horton, can you hear me? Ms. Horton, you may need to tap the pop-up that says connect using internet audio. There we go. All right, Ms. Horton, can you hear me?
I can now. Thank you.
Great. Can you take your phone and turn it from this way to this way? Perfect. And tell me what type of device you're using to connect.
An iPad.
iPad, okay. All right, Mr. Manath, can you hear me?
Yes,
Great. And what type of device are you using to connect?
I have a laptop. Apple Mac laptop.
Great. All right, Ms. Khan, if you can hear me, you may need to tap the pop-up that says call using internet audio so that you can connect to the audio and we can hear you. All right, I'm going to mute everybody. And Judge Dean, you are welcome to unmute yourself. And the status that we have right now is we had 28 jurors expected to appear. All but 2 have appeared, and a third one is unable to connect to audio. All right. Before you get started with the actual trial portion, I have some instructions and admonishments to give the jurors. Is there anything else that you want to address before I go forward with those instructions?
If you could give us the number of the 3 jurors that didn't appear.
Okay, number 3, Mark Zwartinski has not reported. Number 11, Shabana Khan is trying to connect and is unable to tap the settings that would let us hear her. And then the third one is Terry Easterling, number 25, did not attempt to connect.
All right, thanks.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So to all the jurors, one thing you may need to do that will help you right now, you may all be on gallery view, which I call the Brady Bunch view. If you understand what I'm talking about, go ahead and raise your hand. Okay. So if you're on the Brady Bunch view right now, that might be a little hard to watch everything that's going on. If you're on a computer, you can go up to the top of your screen and hover, and there's something called speaker view, and that will show you the active speaker who's currently talking, and it will make them bigger. If you're on a phone or an iPad, if you tap on the left side of your screen, it will show you an option to choose speaker view, and that will make the person who's talking much bigger so you can see them better. All right, if you are having any difficulty switching to the view that you would like to watch, please unmute yourself and I'll help you. All right, I see Miss Thomas. Are you unmuted?
I think so, yeah, but do you want me to mute?
That's fine. I just didn't know if you needed help. Okay, we've talked about.
Rob. Excuse me,
gallery
Ms. Rob,
view.
I'm not quite there yet.
Okay, what type of device are you using?
I'm on an iPhone.
Okay, if you tap at the left side of your iPhone screen, does it pop up an option for you to pick active speaker or gallery view?
No, I don't see that.
Mine just did it automatically when I just touched anywhere on the left. It just started showing who's talking.
Okay, so my left is now at the bottom of my phone because I'm in a.
I think if you tap your view left, even if it's the bottom of your phone.
Yeah. When I tap the phone, it just comes up with menus on top and bottom, and I can go to more, but I don't see what you're looking.
Is there something that looks like a grid or something that looks like a person?
Yeah, I can see participants, but that seems to want to take me to add or invite people. It's kind of a list.
Are you able to see who's talking enough to participate, or is it a bad viewer experience for you?
Oh, it's not bad. I'll be okay.
Okay. Let's see. Anyone else having any difficulties that we can try to help with?
Judge Miskell, who was that speaking? They're off my screen.
That was number 19, Mr. Catheriner. Am I saying that correctly?
That is correct.
All right, during, as we go forward, I have the ability to spotlight somebody and make sure that person is on your screen. So I will be using that as necessary going forward. Okay, just some thank you, first of all, thank you all for participating in your jury service remotely. This is the first time this is happening in Texas and maybe even the country as far as we know. So I appreciate the many of you who called to make sure it wasn't a scam. That was very smart of you. And so Judge Dean is the judge who's actually handling the trial portion today. I am a judge, but I am not the judge in this case. What I'm here to do is troubleshoot all the technical difficulties. So first of all, if you're having technical difficulties, you can always unmute yourself and ask. Secondly, I sent an email to everybody last night, and if you have technical difficulties, you can reply to that email. That goes to me. But we want to make sure that you're seeing everything that you need to see and that you're participating smoothly. So please do not be embarrassed to unmute yourself and say you're having some trouble. There is also a raise hand function in Zoom. If you're familiar with Zoom and you know how to do a raised hand, if you're on a phone or a tablet, it may be under the chat. There's an icon to raise a hand. If you're on a computer, I believe it's typically in the participants window. Don't worry about it if you don't know how to do that. If you do raise your hand, I'll see it, we'll get to you. But if you don't, you can always raise your hand the old-fashioned way and let us know that we need to talk to you or unmute yourself. Also, if you are connecting using a device like a phone or a tablet, please be plugged in so that we don't lose you if your battery dies. And speaking of losing you, if we lose somebody because of an internet connection, please just connect again. You'll go to the waiting room again and I'll let you in again, okay? So we know that sometimes things happen with internet. I've lost my own connection in the middle of a court hearing. So we'll all be patient and flexible with each other. And I just want to sincerely thank you for helping us give this a try. So with that, let me give everybody your oath. If all of the potential jurors will please raise your right hands. All right, do each of you solemnly swear or affirm that you will give true answers to all questions asked of you as a juror, so help you God? All right. Okay, Judge Dean, take it away.
All right. First of all, I want to welcome you to the Collin County Courthouse. Although I know you're in your home, the same as I am, I'm in my office at home. I think of this as being at the courthouse because for centuries, if you've got jury duty, you have to go to the courthouse for jury duty. In this case, the courthouse has come to you. But I want you to see this as jury duty. You're not at home on jury duty. You're at jury duty. You just happen to be at home. Just like when I'm doing this, I think of myself as I'm being at court. I even do things that I know I'm not going to use, but that's what I do when I go to court. I put a pen in my top pocket every day I go to court. I'm not going to be signing any documents today, but the pen is there because I'm in court. So I want you to think of this as jury duty. Now, with jury duty, there are times where the courtroom is open. Anybody can come in. There are also times where it's limited to just the jury. So you're going to have to tell whoever's in your home, there are going to be times when they're going to have to leave the room and not be listening in. And somebody's going to get mad at you and tell them it's not your fault, it's the judge's fault. And they can get mad at me and they can get in a short line of people that are mad at me. That's just part of being a judge. You have to do things that sometimes people don't like. But what we're doing today is a form of jury trial. This trial is, first of all, this trial is assigned to the court that Joe Willis is the judge of. Joe Willis is an excellent judge and a wonderful person, and I'm not Joe Willis. There are certain times where you bring in a retired judge for certain functions, and that's me. I'm Keith Dean. I'm a retired judge. I handle things like this. This trial is expected to last a week. But what we're doing today is a process to attempt to shorten the trial, or in some cases even avoid the trial altogether. I guarantee you, there's very few things I can guarantee with 100% accuracy. This is one. Your jury duty will last 1 day, 2 days. That's it. You will not be required to come back tomorrow or any other time. It's a 1-day service. Now, we've kind of cleared y'all in advance that yes, you're fine doing this. We also understand things happen. And you say, I didn't anticipate this. I mean, I anticipated jury duty. I have a human problem because you deal with humans, you're going to have human problems. If there's anybody that has a medical issue that's arisen that, you know, you're obviously we're in a medical time where you say, when I said on last week, I'm just fine doing this, but today I cannot do it. Let us know at this point. If there's anybody that says, I just don't feel comfortable with the computer system and doing it this way, let us know up front. All right. Judge Miskell is helping us with the IT functions today for several reasons. For one, she knows how to do IT a lot better than I do. And the other is, as a judge, she knows what I'm looking for when I say I need this to happen. So she's volunteered to do this. She told you, if you have a question, raise your hand. But just like in jury duty, you don't get to speak all that much. You do a lot of listening. You get to speak when you and the other jurors communicate. Now, also, we will take regular breaks. We'll take a mid-morning break. We'll take a lunch break. Even though you know we've got a break coming. If you say, I got to take a break right now, if I'm going to tell you exactly what I tell people in the courthouse. If you need to take a break right then, right now, you can't wait until the mid-morning break or the lunch break. Either get my attention or someone's attention and do like this. That's our sign for a break. And I'll know, all right, that person needs to break. You can hit the raise your hand button with the technology that we don't have in the court. Other than that, during the course of this trial that we're going to have today, this is a process that I think first came to Texas in 1987 to try to shorten and in some cases avoid trial altogether. Ordinarily, we do this at the physical courthouse. We're doing this online today, but the same rules apply. It's very serious business. It's jury duty. There's, other than when you get drafted during time of war, when you pay your taxes in April, there's really not that much that you're required to do as a citizen, but jury duty is one of them. So during the course of jury duty, the instructions are, don't discuss this case with anyone. Don't let anybody talk to you about this case. Don't attempt any independent investigation. Now, what would independent investigation mean? Well, in the world we live in today, as you can tell, we've got a lot of technology. Trivia is dead. Anytime there's an issue, anytime there's a question, anytime you face a new situation, you're the same as I am. You pick up that phone and you Google it. You cannot do that in a trial when you have jury duty. The trial would end immediately. And I will use myself as an example. This is about 6 years ago. I was in a hearing, not a jury trial, but a hearing with lawyers where for 45 minutes, they had argued over whether something was a 9-minute drive or an 11-minute drive. And I was losing my mind. And I said, I can Google map it quicker now. I picked up my phone and then I put my phone down and I thought, you knucklehead, you're about to do what you tell jurors not to do, which is my own independent investigation. So I put my phone down for 2 reasons. One, I did not want to start that hearing over again. And the other, I didn't want to put myself in jail for 72 hours. So please, no independent investigation, no receiving information from any source other than the lawyers that will appear before you today and any witnesses they may call, any documents they may show you. The lawyers in this case are Matthew Pearson and Valerie Cantu, and the lawyers on the other side are Amy Stewart and John Stone. And you'll meet them at a later point. So at this point, does anyone have any questions about what we're doing today, or what their job is, or what their obligations are? Okay. At this point, I'm going to turn the trial over to the lawyers for a few minutes. Mr. Pearson will have some questions for you. Ms. Stewart will have some questions for you. So, Mr. Pearson, are you prepared? Are you ready?
All right,
Yes,
and
Margaret.
Mr. Bulla, I'm sorry, Mr. Bulla, did you have a question? You're unmuted, or I'm sorry, let me unmute you. Mr. Bulla, did you have a question?
Yeah, just quickly, I wasn't sure how long we were committed for today. So I just wanted to get an idea. Are we kind of committed for the entire day, everyone, or not?
Yes, it will go today till about 4:30 or 5.
Okay.
And we won't go past that. You never know, you might end earlier, but we'll go at least to 4:30 or 5.
So everyone on the call, everyone here will go that long?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And if there's a scheduling conflict, you say, I didn't realize that, I'll just back out and I'll come to the courthouse and do jury duty in person at some later point. And if it's one of those trials that lasts a week, it lasts a week. Then
No, I cleared my schedule this morning, but not the afternoon. I can do that. I will do that.
Wonderful. Good. Okay. Very good. Thanks. Anybody else? All right. Judge Miskell.
I had one question, which is, we have all of the slightly less than 28 participants in the call together now, which makes the boxes relatively small and rolling over to 2 screens for me. Do the lawyers want me to move half of the jurors into a breakout room so that you can question half of them at a time, or do you want to proceed with the whole panel together?
Mr. Pearson, we'll get you to answer that first.
Yeah, Your Honor, I think it would be easier. It looks like when we're looking at all of them, it's like the Brady Bunch on steroids. So I think splitting them in half may be the better thing to do.
Okay.
All right.
And Ms. Stewart, you agree?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good.
Okay. Just give me 1 second to assign everybody. Okay, so everybody whose juror number is 15 and greater, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move you into what we call a breakout room. That means you're going to go into a different Zoom that's going to look a lot like this, but you won't be able to hear the main room and we won't be able to hear you, but you can talk to each other. So when I hit open all rooms, it'll give you a pop-up, and if you'll just tap it to go into your breakout room, I'll just give you the same admonishment that we'll give you at all the breaks, which is don't talk to each other about the case, don't look on social media about the case, don't do any internet research, just talk about weather, grandkids, pets, those sort of topics. All right, I'm going to hit open the room and it should invite you. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Roberts had a question. Let me see if I can unmute you.
How do we know what number we are?
I have renamed you all, so I don't know if you can see your own name, but Mr. Roberts, you are number 20. But it should invite you to the breakout room as soon as I hit this button. Okay, I think everyone is in their correct room. Is there any other technical question before we let the lawyers get started? Okay, I'm going to unmute everybody. If it becomes disruptive, we'll address it. All right, you may proceed.
Go ahead, Mr. Pearson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, everyone. This is as strange as it is for us as it is for you, but we're looking forward to trying this out. There's going to be some technical glitches, but we're going to do the best thing we can. My name is Matthew Pearson. I am one of the attorneys that represents VirtuWave Holdings. That's the plaintiff in this case. VirtuWave Holdings is a business that owns a building in McKinney, and on the screen, you can see, I don't think his picture's up, is Lance Black. Lance Black is one of the primary owners of the building, so you may hear from him during the course of this trial. This case, without getting into the evidence, it's about hail damage, hail and wind damage to the building in McKinney that occurred back in March of 2017. And we have filed this lawsuit on behalf of VirtuWave Holdings against State Farm, the company that insured the building, alleging that they failed to pay the benefits to repair the building from the hailstorm that they should have. So we are seeking money damages from State Farm in this lawsuit. Does that make sense? If anyone that doesn't make sense, let me know. Okay. You know, the process we're going through right now is called jury selection. There's a fancy word for it called voir dire. But it's really the idea is to pick the best group of people to listen to this case. There are some people, for whatever reason, that this would not be a good case for them to listen to and render a verdict. I think a clear example of that would be, you know, if there's someone that works for State Farm that's on the panel, you may be a perfectly good juror for another case, but because this involves your employer, State Farm, this wouldn't be a good case for you. And there could be other examples. So before I get into anything or ask any questions, just knowing the little bit that you've heard, knowing that this is an insurance case, knowing that involves a building called VirtuWave Holdings at Lance Black, and State Farm is on the other side, is there anyone in the panel that just thinks, you know, for whatever reason, this just wouldn't be a good jury for me to sit on? And I'm looking at all your pictures and I either see blank stares or no shaking of no. So I'm assuming that means everyone could sit in this jury. So I appreciate that. I'm going to be asking you some questions, and Amy Stewart, one of the lawyers representing State Farm, is going to ask you some questions. And the one thing I would say is, there is no wrong answer. The only thing that you could do today is just not be completely honest with both of us. There may be some beliefs you have, some personal opinions you have that you think might offend me, but that's okay, or might offend my client about lawsuits, about companies or people seeking money damages, and that's perfectly fine. The only thing that would be wrong is that if you just don't let us know what your beliefs are. So, and the other thing is, when we're asking these questions, I want you to understand, we're not trying to pry into your personal life. Again, the only thing we want to do is we want to find the best group of people that could serve on this jury. So let me ask I'm going to try and do this to the whole group, because I can see splitting in half most of you, and I'll see if I can read faces or raise your hand. But is there anyone that just kind of has a fundamental problem with a company or a person that would file a lawsuit seeking money damages, that you believe for whatever reason, that's not what the courthouse is for? There may be perfectly good reasons to file a lawsuit, but for those people or businesses seeking money damages, that they just don't believe in those type of cases. If you do, could you please raise your hand? All right. I don't see any hands. This building, like I said, is in McKinney. It's called Virtuwave Holdings. The address is 17 Bray Central Drive, so it's on northern part of McKinney. It is used, it's got a data center in it, it's got some office space, and it also has some volleyball courts. Does anyone know this building at all? If you do, please raise your hand. I'd like to ask some follow-up questions. All right, I don't see any affirmative responses. All right. I told you at the beginning that this case is against State Farm. We're seeking money damages, alleging that State Farm didn't honor their obligations under the policy. Does anyone, either them, any immediate family or close friends, have any connection with State Farm? Employed by State Farm, used to work by State Farm, anything like that? Okay, I don't see any positive. How about, is anyone currently insured by State Farm, either their cars or their home? Okay, Miss Clark, you are number 14.
Yes.
Anyone else? Okay, I don't see any other hands. Miss Clark, could you just tell me what your connection is with State Farm?
State Farm insures both my house and all my vehicles.
All right. And how long have you had State Farm as your insurance company?
About 9 years.
9 years. And have you ever filed any claims either for your car or for your auto? Excuse me, or your home? All right.
Yes, both.
And have they been, the experience has been okay from your perspective? Yes. All right. The fact that we're suing State Farm in this case, do you think you'd have a problem sitting in judgment of State Farm knowing that you've been insured with them for 9 years?
No, sir.
All right. Okay. We talked a little bit about, this is a storm in March of 2017, specifically March 26th of 2017. Anyone have any personal knowledge of that storm?
I do.
Okay, I see Miss Tang raised her hand. Miss Barron raised her hand. Mr. Darmesh raised his hand. Mr. Diamond raised his hand, and Mr. Mercer raised his hand.
Ms. Wapham raised her hand as well.
Oh, and Miss Wapham, thank you. All right, I'm going to try and go in order. I think Mr. Mercer, you're number 1. Can you tell me what was your personal experience regarding this storm?
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, there's a lot of hailstorms in Texas, but I think with this one, it did massive damage to our church at Cottonwood Creek. They're on 121. Yeah, so Yeah, I'm familiar with this hail damage.
Okay, were you involved at all in the assessing the damage of your church or making a claim on behalf of your church, or you just know that from secondhand?
I mean, it was really significant. It shut down the church for, I think, quite a few months. It was really, I mean, it did quite a bit of damage.
All right.
But I mean, I wasn't personally involved in assessing, no.
Okay, thank you. Who was the next one? Okay, I'm trying to track you on the street. Miss Barrett, you raised your hand,
Yes, I did.
and tell me what your personal experience was with this storm.
I just remember the storm, and I know lots of people that had hail damage.
All right.
I didn't personally have a claim or do anything with it. I just remember the storm.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Okay, Miss Wapham,
Yes, sir.
did I pronounce that correctly?
Close enough.
Okay, how do you pronounce your name?
Wapham.
Wapham, thank you. Sorry about that. What's your experience with the storm?
As well, our church experienced significant damage, as well as some friends and my son's vehicle.
All right. Who was the next one? Okay, Mr. Diamond, I think you raised your hand as well. Can you tell me what your experience was with this storm?
Well, we got stuck out in it, and so we had damage to our vehicle. And but we were with another insurance company that we did our claim through.
All right, thank you, sir. Who's the next one? Ms. Tang, you also raised your hand?
Yes, I did.
And what was your personal experience with this storm?
My roof was damaged and my window was broken. So I had to file a claim with my insurance company.
All right. And then who was the last one? I think that was it. Did I miss anyone else that has some? Oh, Mr. Is it Shavda?
Chapter. Yes,
Shavda.
I had a damage in my home, so we did an insurance claim for that damage on the roof.
All right. Thank you. Now, did I miss anyone else? Okay. Now, for those folks that had some personal experience with the storm, whether it was with your car, with your home, or with at least secondhand with your church, you weren't involved with State Farm, so it's a different insurance company, maybe even claim wasn't in your cert. Anything about your personal experience, knowing at least something about this storm that you think, whatever reason, you wouldn't be right for this jury? Or can you sit, listen to the evidence that both sides present, and then at the end of the day, render a verdict based on the evidence that you hear in this particular case? If you can all do that, I see a lot of yeses, and I don't see any shake. If you don't think you can do that, raise your hand. All right, I don't see any hands. Does anyone, obviously we're going to be talking in this case about insurance. We'll talk about insurance policy. We'll be talking about, the steps going through in investigating an insurance claim, and then also you'll hear from experts, some engineers, and some building consultants talking about how to assess hail and wind damage to property. Does anyone have any specialized knowledge in any of those areas, either insurance or damage assessment, either currently in their job or in a prior job or other aspect of their life? Okay. Judge Dean, how am I doing on time?
You've got 3 minutes and 12 seconds left.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give a little bit of time back, but based on the little information that you've heard so far, is there anything that's in your background you can think, boy, Matthew, if you just would have asked this question, you would have known that this isn't a right type of jury for me. This isn't the right type of case for me to sit on. If there's something out there in your background and in this short period of time, I just haven't had the opportunity to ask, raise your hand and let me know what it is. And I'd appreciate you sharing it with us. Okay, Mr. Silva.
I guess the biggest issue I had a big issue with my insurance company.
Okay.
They denied a claim that was pretty evident wasn't a claim. I mean, I think I can be fair. I believe I can. I'm just letting you know that I got, you could say, screwed by my insurance company. So
Okay,
left a bitter taste for insurance companies in my mouth.
understandable. That wasn't State Farm, right?
No, sir.
And I imagine there can be a number of people would say, you know, throughout the course of their life, either them or a family member had an experience that may not have been good. But do you think you can set that aside, listen to the evidence in this case, and at the end render a verdict based on the documents, the few documents you see, the testimony you see, and the evidence that we present to you?
Yes, of course. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you feel you could be fair and impartial?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you raising your hand. That's exactly what I asked you to do, and I appreciate that. Anyone else, is there something in your background you said, boy, Matthew, if you just asked this, you'd find out that I may not be a right person for this jury? I don't see any other hands. Judge Dean, thank you. I'll pass it over to Ms. Stewart.
Ms. Stewart?
Thank you, Your Honor. First of all, how exciting is this that we all get to experience this together for the first time, we know, in Texas, but maybe even the country. So the first thing I want to know is who right now, after what Mr. Pearson said, believes that they want to be on this jury? And if you could just show me by your hands, who believes they want to be on this jury? Okay, Mr. Pearson, no? Okay, so we're going to play summary jury trial survivor to figure out who gets left to be on this jury. And so I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, just like Mr. Pearson did, to learn a little bit more about you, and you can learn a little bit more about this case. My name's Amy Stewart, and I represent State Farm and a claims adjuster named Ben Stunkel. And I'm here with my senior associate, John Stone. He can wave his hand, so you know he's not one of you all. And so we're going to walk through some questions. So the first thing I have is, does anyone know what the word bias means? And if you do, raise your hand for me. Bias. Okay, so I don't see everyone's hand up. So I'm going to take us through this little exercise to teach you what bias means. All right, so when I ask you this question, keep your hand up. How many folks are Dallas Cowboy fans? Keep your hand up. All right, if you're a Cowboys fan, keep your hand up. How many of you also really like Patrick Mahomes, who's the quarterback at Kansas City? Okay. Who is going to cheer for Patrick Mahomes when they play the Cowboys? That's bias. That's bias. So I represent insurance companies. And just like Mr. Silva talked about, sometimes people have a negative experience. So again, I want everyone, again, to talk about their experience with insurance companies. Anybody have a negative experience they want to tell me about? Please raise your hand if you do. Okay, great. So Mr. Silva, you knew you were coming up. You knew you were on deck. Tell us a little bit about your issue with your insurance company.
It was a roof claim. It was a storm. I think it was in 2015, 2016. There was damage in the storm. The company only paid a percentage and didn't pay the percentage until it was complete. It was complete later on the year, just because it was so heavy crews out there that nobody could come out the house until later in the year. So it got finished, and the insurance company just denied paying the second part. They said that it took too long. I ran up the food chain. Nobody ever paid it. So I was stuck out of the money. So I paid it out of my pocket. So.
Got it. Thank you. And that was not with State Farm, correct? No. Okay. And then Mr. Shavda, am I pronouncing your name correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay. What type of roof did you have on your home that had damage done to it?
So I don't know exactly the type of it. It's a normal roof that we all have in Texas.
So it's like this?
Yeah.
And it's got shingles on it?
It's got shingles on it, yes, that's correct.
Okay. Who else had damage to their home from the hailstorm on March 26, 2017? If you could raise your hand. Yes, Ms. Tang, can you tell me how your house is built? Is it a pitch house with shingles?
Yes.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Clark, did you have damage to your home from a storm?
Yes, but I don't recall that it was that same year. I couldn't tell you because my husband handles that, but State Farm did replace my roof.
Okay, and you, again, was it a pitched roof with shingles on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, got it. And Mr. Mercer, can you just, which one, is there more than one campus for your church that you were speaking about?
It's just the main one in Allen. I would say there's only one campus.
Okay, so it's the one in Allen?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And so next question, who in this panel has a home warranty on their home? Anyone? Mr. Monath, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Monath.
Monath, okay. Anyone else? Mr. Silva, you have a home warranty?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, anyone else? Ms. Wapham?
Yes, I believe we do too.
Okay, anyone else? Going once, going twice, and summary draws survivor? No? Okay. All right, so Mr. Monath, can you explain to me what you understand your home warranty plan does?
It just takes care of things that happen in the home. I'm not really sure about all the specifics on the warranty, but I think it's sort of like major medical where it takes care of the larger problems, like let's say hail damage on a roof, or if it was, I don't know, if someone went into the car, our house with a car, it would take care of that. If the insurance didn't take care of it from the car insurance, you know, things like that. I'm not really sure about what it covers, but I know it covers the major issues.
Got it. And Mr. Silva, coming back to you, what's your understanding of the home warranty policy you have on your home?
Sure. If there's a device, either let's say the dishwasher is broken, you only pay a deductible and you can have a repairman to come out and fix it. If it's unfixable, they give you a percentage of what you paid for. At least that's the way I understand mine.
Got it. And Ms. Wapham, do you know how your policy works, your home warranty policy?
I'm not exactly sure, but we have a new build. So I think it acts kind of like Mr. Silva said.
Okay, got it. Anyone else? Did I miss anyone that has a home warranty policy on their home? Okay, got it. So we talked about that some people have had hail damage to their cars. Can people raise their hand if they've had hail damage to their car? You live in Texas, you're gonna get hail damage to your car, right? Mr. Deer,
in the garage.
No, I've been lucky.
get it in the garage as soon as possible. Mr. Dearkin, can you tell me about your experience with hail damage to your car?
Hail, nothing unusual, hail damage, the roof, the hood, the sides. The roof actually had to be replaced on an F-150.
Okay, did the hailstones, did it break your windshield or your windows?
No broken glass.
Okay, was, despite that, it didn't look the same, that F-150 didn't look the same, were you able still to drive it?
Certainly.
Okay, anybody else with hail issues with their cars? Give me a hands up. Trying to see if I got someone new. Okay, I'm going to you, Mr. Diamond. Tell me about your experience with hail damage to your car.
Very similar to his. Ended up totaling the vehicle because it was too much, but it didn't change in the fact I could still drive it. No broken glass.
Got it. Okay, so even though there were hail hits on your car, you could still drive it.
Correct.
It kept you dry. Okay.
Yes.
Anyone else with hail damage to their vehicle? Mr. Manath?
Yeah.
Did I butcher your name again? Tell me again your name.
Monath.
Monath. See, I'm from the South. I'm just going to continue to mess that up. All right. Tell me about your experience with hail to your car.
Same thing on the hood and on the roof, but still drivable, no glass, no broken glass.
Okay. So you guys are sharing a lot. I'm going to share a little bit about me. So I played college basketball. And one thing that is burned in my brain is an experience I had where we had to run 5 miles in a row to get into basketball season. And I remember being a freshman and being scared to death, and I was running, and then I turned around and I saw an upperclassman who, instead of running the route, cut through the field. And the coach wasn't around, no one was watching. And through the rest of my years at Wake Forest, I remembered that she got through, that she didn't run the course the way it was supposed to be ran. So a question for the group: who in this group believes you got to win at all costs? Anybody? No one? So tell me, can someone kind of explain to me why that still is with me to this day, that I saw my teammate cut through a field and didn't run the right course? Anybody want to share? I'm going to call on you. Ms. Clark.
It's not fair if you're doing the work and someone else takes a shortcut or doesn't do the work.
Yeah.
I think that's probably why you remember it.
Yeah, because I'm old, Ms. Clark. That was 20 some years ago. Still remember. Ms. Tang, I saw you nodding your head. What are your thoughts about my story?
Well, it might cost you a scholarship that could have been yours, and then, end up not being yours.
Got it.
You might lose that opportunity.
Mr. Stevens, what do you think about my story?
Well, I think that you're probably still remembering it because you felt cheated. You had to go the extra mile and they didn't, and the person who cheated probably actually got recognized for coming in before you.
Well, Mr. Stevens, I still beat her because I worked harder because I saw her cheating. But yeah, I knew what she did. But Miss Barron, I saw you nodding your head when Miss Clark was speaking.
Yeah, I kind of what they were saying, but I think also for me, when you come in and you're new and you have upperclassmen, that you kind of expect them to be sort of showing the way. So in addition to the fact that they were cheating, I think there's an aspect of how they sort of let you down, or at least what I would have felt let down, that these people I look up to who were supposed to be guiding me are not following the rules. So there would have been a certain amount of disappointment, and life is not fair that you kind of wrestle with and makes it stick with you.
Thank you. And Miss Thomas, what do you have to say about that? Any thoughts?
Well, I played college sports, so I know the work that goes into getting there, and anyone that would take a shortcut, I would feel like, I don't know, it just shows me their character too, and who they kind of maybe are at the core, that they may take in life and apply that to other things and go shortcuts to get what they want.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. And Mr. Deerking, I saw you raise your hand.
Oh, I would just venture to say that and presume that there's much more behind the story between you and that individual. If one incident lingers that long that you played an entire season with them, that the two personalities weren't able to come through that, or for you to get past that. I think there's a lot of other cases where you lost faith in that individual to carry that one example. Because over the course of one season or multiple seasons with that individual, you each had the opportunity to prove yourself to one another, but apparently that individual never did to you, so that sticks.
Thank you for that. Okay, and so as we wrap up, I've got 2 minutes left. Anything else, like Mr. Pearson talked about, after listening to Mr. Pearson's presentation and mine, is there anything anyone wants to share now that they think we need to know before we start selecting and going into the last round of summary jury trial survivor? You have anything, raise your hand. All right, Judge Dean, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right. Let me have the lawyers approach the bench, which is going to be, we're going to need to go in a separate breakout room.
Judge Dean, do you want me to move the jurors into a breakout room and we speak openly, or do you want to speak privately with the jurors? We'll stay here and move you and the attorneys into a breakout room.
Let's move me and the attorneys into a breakout room.
Okay. Oh, additionally, what do you want to bring back? Do you want to swap out and get the back half of the panel and ask them any questions?
Let me talk to the lawyers first.
Okay. Apparently I have to close all the breakout rooms before I can create this new one.
Oh, mercy. Okay.
Live and learn.
Then whatever's easiest to do where I can just talk to the lawyers. But
That's fine. The way I did this is just causing a few seconds of delay, so I'll do it differently next time.
Sounds great.
Okay, I'm gonna now reopen the breakout rooms. Hold on one second. Okay, when I reopen the breakout rooms, the back half of the jury panel should go back into their same breakout room they were before. And additionally, the lawyers and Judge Dean will go into a separate breakout room. So as soon as I click open all rooms, you should tap whatever pop-up happens to let you go into your breakout room. All right, here we go. All right, and to this panel, just be patient. Again, no looking at social media about the case, no researching the case, and no talking about the case between each other. I'm gonna go ahead and mute you.
Is it okay if we go to the restroom?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, if everyone can return to their seats, we're going to resume the proceeding. Some of the panel members had requested to take a quick restroom break. All right. It looks like Mr. Pearson is still in the breakout room, and I am unable to move him out. He will have to move himself out. All right, it looks like we have everyone but Mr. Silva and Mr. Pearson. All right, let's see if I can go get Mr. Pearson. All right, we have Mr. Pearson back. We still don't have Mr. Silva back. Mr. Silva, if you can hear us, please return to your chair. All right, Mr. Silva, if you can hear this, please return to your seat. We're ready to get started.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. Trust me.
All right, Mr. Silva, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Please return.
I'm trying to.
We have new challenges with remote service, but there are challenges when people come to the courthouse too. So we're always
Actually, this happens at the courthouse also. You've got to go find someone out in the hall talking on the phone. That just, I will say for those of you that are here, during jury duty, you won't have to mess with your phone. You won't have to text, you won't have to phone, call anybody. You won't have to answer that phone. And I will tell you, it is a few hours of bliss to get away from that thing. So I know you jurors, sometimes you almost see them going through withdrawal when they reach for their phone and then no, you can't do it. So And then once you do it all day, you think, man, I really didn't need that thing. Usually at this point, I'm sending the bailiff out to tap him on the shoulder.
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
He was using a headset, so it's not going to come through.
Oh.
Ah, okay. All right.
Might text him if you have his number. That might be the best way.
Perfect. Let's see if I've got his number. And I don't own.
To tell you the truth, that's what I've been doing lately. On these tickets, is trying to reaching out to that person, say, hey, can you?
I think unfortunately all I have is his email address.
And I'm doing that now. For example, I have 2 tickets that were 10-8s before, and then they were now given to me to finish.
Let me do this while we're waiting for Mr. Silva. I don't know if everybody had a chance to run use the restroom. Do that. And
Well, hold on. I was going to ask, do you want to talk to the other half of the panel? Because
we do not.
I'm sorry?
We are very happy with the people we have.
Okay. All right. We will wait a few minutes for Mr. Silva.
Let me do this. If anyone needs to run to the restroom,
yes, sir.
Go do that real quick. We'll all come back and hope. There's Mr. Silva. Mr. Silva, we can't start without you. Can you hear me, Mr. Silva? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me, Mr. Silva? Okay. This is going to sound like I'm yelling at you, but I'm not. We can only go when all 12 are back together. So we've all been sitting here for about 6 or 7 minutes waiting for you to come back. I promise you, I'm not yelling at you. That's just part of getting used to the process. So it's one of those deals. If one person leaves the room, everybody else has to just sit there and wait. So I know you didn't realize that, but so that's going to be the rules throughout the day. If you need to leave the room to do something, let us know so we can all leave the room at the same time. All right.
Hold on one second. Mr. Silva, I'm not sure we're still getting audio from you. Can you say something?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Okay. At this point, we are going to begin the summary jury trial in just a moment. We're going to let the judge get all the Judge Miskell get everything all figured out on the technology part. We're going to release the other 12 jurors or 14 jurors. And let me ask, I don't have everybody on my screen. Judge Miskell, are the other 14 back in our room now?
No, they are still in the breakout room. Would you like me to bring them back?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right, everyone is back from the breakout rooms, and Judge Dean, you are spotlighted.
All right, very good. We talked about jury selection. It's really jury elimination. No one's ever been picked to be on a jury. It's just if someone has such a problem that they wouldn't be able to be fair or impartial in a situation, then they're excused. In this case, the first 12 people we spoke to, no one did anything to make us think they couldn't be fair and impartial. And so we are going to go with those 12. For the 14 that were outside the room a while back, I appreciate your service. I appreciate you being willing to participate in this. Your service is complete. So at this point, you're free to go about your day and do anything you'd like to do.
And here's what I'll do. Don't disconnect yet, and I will remove the people who have not been selected for the meeting. Everyone stay on until I remove you.
All right. At this point, I'm going to turn it over for the technology purposes to Judge Miskell.
All right, at this point, all of the jurors that were in the breakout room, I'm going to one by one remove you. Don't hang up, just wait. And anyone else, don't hang up. I don't want to lose anyone who's supposed to be here. But to those who completed your jury service in the breakout room, we thank you, and I will be one by one removing you. Okay. Oh, we have one more person. Okay, so in the room, we have Judge Dean. We have number 1, Mr. Mercer, number 2, Miss Barron, number 4, Miss Wapham, number 5, Miss Thomas, number 6, Mr. Diamond, number 7, Mr. Silva, number 8, Miss Tang, number 9, Mr. Deerking, number 10, Mr. Chavda, number 12, Mr. Monath, number 13, Mr. Stevens, number 14, Miss Clark, and we still have our 2 participants from each side. Okay, is everybody who's supposed to be here here? Does anyone notice anyone who's missing? Oh, I'm sorry. Miss Latinas, you are also, let me remove.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, any other issues with who's here and who's on the panel? Okay, at this point, give me a second to end the public stream, because from now on, the proceedings are not public because they are part of an alternative dispute resolution process. So for everybody who has been watching so far, thank you for watching. I'm going to end the public stream. We are going to move to a different portion of this program, and do not record and do not be present for any further parts of this proceeding unless you are actually a participant. All right, let me